commercial.
Hey YouTube, Vermont Prepper. Have you ever wanted to change your oil without having to jack up your car and get underneath? Well, stay tuned and don't touch that dial, and we'll get right to it. Welcome to my world. We're going to talk mainly about military vehicles, solar power, and self-sufficiency. But I also like to live life to its fullest potential. I do this through music. Specifically, I'm a drummer. Music runs through my veins, and I'm also going to discuss the various equipment I use and throw in a few covers. Hope you enjoy. Welcome to the channel. Alright, so what we have here is a special contraption that allows you to extract the oil from your dipstick tube. So you have a long plastic tube that goes down all the way into your oil pan, and you kind of got to snake it down through there like you would be snaking through a clogged drain with a snake. And it gets connected to this tube right here, this larger tube, which gets connected to this tank. And this is what's called an oil extraction pump. So basically the way it works is it creates a suction and sucks the oil right outside of your oil dipstick tube. And the way it does that is two ways, actually. You can do it with a compressor, and we have a compressor hooked up to it. I'll show you that. So we have the compressor hooked up to it, or you can do it manually if you don't have a compressor. And actually it's a lot harder if you do it manually. You want to kind of avoid that, but you can do this by, you know, pumping this up and down, and it would take forever to do it, I think. But having a nice compressor, makes it a lot easier. So if you see right here, I don't know if you can see the shadow difference. The oil is right about here right now, and it takes longer than, you know, draining out of the bottom of your oil pan, but you don't have to jack up the car, which is great. I mean, I have ramps and everything, but I really wanted to use this thing and not have to get underneath the car because it's a little cold today in Vermont. All right, so basically you have a valve right here that you don't have to have on all the time. You can, if you need some more suction, you just do that. It creates like a little vacuum, and your oil, I can actually hear it. I don't know if you can hear it on camera, but you can hear the oil dripping into the container. So this is the EWK model, and this is a larger one because I have two diesel trucks that, you know, the 5 quarts, they only hold 5 quarts. This one is actually a lot larger. I believe it might be a 10. I'll put a link in the description. It's actually a 15 liter, which I will convert. I don't have that off the top of my head, but it's more than...
Converts to like around 1 quart to like 1 liter, like ish.
15 liters is equal to about 4 gallons. So this holds 5 quarts of oil, so it holds 1.25 gallons of oil. This VW Passat. So the Blazer and the M1028 military vehicles, they hold almost 7 quarts of oil. So you can get the larger ones, and it costs, what, about $110 or so. Really relatively cheap for what it does. You do have to have a compressor. I wouldn't recommend using it without a compressor. And then the other thing you want to do is be on level ground, so because you don't want your car leaning too forward or too far back, because you risk not getting all of the oil up out of the vehicle. And I've used this one time actually before, and it gets all of the oil out. If you're worrying about, like, if it doesn't get it all out, it gets it all out, because I was able to fill, you know, all of the 5 quarts in the oil pan, and it basically filled the whole thing up, and it was perfect. So it works, and it's easy to use. All right, so we filled up all of this one right here, which is about 4 liters, and a little bit of that one. So it's about 5 liters total that it took out, which is what the car takes. And you know, it works really good. The only thing that I forgot to do, and you do need to do this, is start the car up and let it run for like 10 or 15 minutes just to warm up the oil. It makes it easier to flow. I should have done that. I didn't do it, but it may have taken a little longer to get out than normal. So it does take some patience, and you got to make sure that the dipstick, or that the tube, is all the way down in the pan. Sometimes it gets caught up in the dipstick tube depending upon what kind of car you have, and you just have to kind of jimmy it around, and it gives you that little extra amount that you need to make sure that it's fully down in the bottom of the pan. All right, so that about wraps it up. I appreciate everybody watching. And again, I'll put a link in the description if you're interested in this contraption. It's pretty handy. It's relatively cheap, and if you have a compressor, totally worth it. And if you change your own oil especially. Alright, everyone, Vermont Prepper out, and as always, keep prepping. Thanks for watching.